Good morning. Christy Clark has taken leave from CKNW to run for the leadership of the Liberal Party. She is considered by many to be a front runner, at least according to early polls. She's in studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to be Premier?
Because I think I can bring a fresh perspective to Victoria that hasn't been there for a while. I think that having spent 4.5 years here listening to people, I've learned a lot about common sense and about the issues concerning people all across the province. And I think it's time to bring that to Victoria. I think we also need in Victoria, Bill, a different kind of culture, a different kind of political culture, one that's more inclusive of the caucus and then of our political party, too. I mean, the BC Liberal Party needs to be genuinely engaged in policy making in a way that they haven't been. And I think that's also a way to engage the public better.
You are combative. You're a fighter. You started out in your opening address talking about how the NDP was going to beat up British Columbia. Doesn't sound very inclusive.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of British Columbians will remember what the 1990s was like, Bill. I mean, if people think that BC Liberals are going to be able to sit back and have a cakewalk through this provincial election campaign, they're living on a different planet. This is going to be a tough campaign. Asking for a fourth term from the public is going to be a lot to ask, I think. We're going to have to fight really hard. And part of that is going to be reminding people of that lost decade. I mean, remember the 1990s. 50,000 people fled British Columbia because of the NDP. So, I mean, on the one hand, we want to remind people about the NDP. But on the other hand, being here for 4.5 years and listening to people and really having a dialogue with them changed me a lot, too. I mean, you look back at my early political career when I was in opposition, I was up there making my points and pointing my finger a lot. And I think I do that a lot less now. I mean, I think British Columbians want us to be in listening mode. They really want to be engaged in government.
You weren't very much in listening mode when you were Minister of Education. You were combative. You were constantly poking your finger in the eye of the BCTF.
But, education, Bill, isn't just about the BCTF. Education is about parents, too. And it's about principals and vice principals, about leadership in schools. And we really, when I was education minister, made, I think, some of the strongest legislation, including parents in the education system. And we created parent councils at every school, for example. So the parents were involved in planning how the school was going to work over the coming year. And every year that happens at every single school. That's the first time that's happened. We went out and we required that schools be accountable for the goals that they set. So parents would help set those goals for the coming year, and then we would make those goals public and whether or not the schools had met them. There's a whole lot of those things that I did when I was Minister of Education, which were really about making the education system so it wasn't just about government and the union, making the education system so that it was really inclusive of all the people that depend on it. And most importantly, for me, that's parents.